Olmsted City is a nonprofit program under the Landmark Society of Greater Utica. It was set up about a year ago to do two different things. First, to raise awareness about the unusual Olmsted heritage of Utica. The Olmsteds were the family who designed Central Park and Prospect Park in Brooklyn and parks in Boston, Chicago, all over the place. Father did all that work, but the son landscaped the grounds of the White House, the Jefferson Memorial, National Cathedral, helped to start the National Park Service. So between the father and the son for about a century, they powerfully influenced the American landscape. And Utica owns a little bit of that, in fact, quite a bit. They were the people to go to in the early 20th century. And the Proctor family, when they decided to invest in building parks in Utica, brought Olmsted here. And then the city of Utica hired Olmsted to design the parkway to connect the parks. Local business people got interested in having him do real estate development projects, so 5 neighborhoods in Utica were designed by Olmsted brothers. So again, all of that covers at least a tenth of the landmass of Utica, and we want people to know that and to think of Utica as an Olmsted city. We're trying to actually basically rebrand Utica, give us a positive story that is true, it's real, and it's significant in the grand scheme of American history. Our other role is to try and restore that Olmsted heritage where it needs restoration, and we're concentrating on Frederick T. Proctor Park in East Utica, which was the last of the parks that the Proctor family built, and it was the last of the Olmsted parks built in Utica between 1912 and 1914. It covers 62 acres, it's on the National Register of Historic Places, and it used to be considered the gem of Utica's Olmsted system. As happened in a lot of places, the park went into decline. All the parks did in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. There isn't a city in this country that has these big old legacy historic parks where they aren't in good shape thanks to a public-private partnership. And so the city of Utica owns the parks, and they give us permission to do the work that we're doing in the parks. They also provide us with a lot of support, material support, and we really appreciate that. And so I think that we're really starting to work hand in glove, which is really important for the future of this community. Why it matters is because we are in an era in which small cities are beginning to make a comeback, but not all are and not all will. And what will determine the fate of this small city is an array of factors, but one of the most important ones is quality of life. And parks like this are an amazing and highly unusual quality of life amenity. There are not many cities that can say that they have what we have here. Back in the 19th century, Olmsted, the father, theorized that time spent in parks like these was like medicine, that it relieved people the stresses of modern urban life. And it's also about local pride, local identity. To be able to say that we have like this gigantic Olmsted designed parks and parkway system and that it's in good shape is really important. So we're dedicated to putting this in better shape. Now our big project, the thing that we're really excited about, is that we've hired an architectural firm in Syracuse that does landscape architecture and historic restoration. They're very accomplished. They come recommended very highly to us by some respected local architects in Utica to fix the lily pond. It was built in 1913, and after 110 years is showing its age. It's been patched in different ways. It's all been very valiant, but it's kind of a mess. And we want this beloved, iconic piece of the park that was designed by Olmsted, and we have the original blueprints for it, to last for another 100 years and to do so in dignity. So we are proposing to fix the lily pond, once in a century repair to the lily pond. So we have a benefactor right now, a wealthy individual who runs a family foundation with tens of millions of dollars in endowment, and they're very interested in parks. They've already done some work in Utica. They're upstaters originally, not connected to Utica, but they've taken an interest in Utica, and now they're offering, for starters, a $50,000 match grant. This project is probably going to cost about $150,000, $160,000 when all is said and done. And so they're putting up a $50,000 match grant, which means for every dollar you give, they give a dollar, until we get up to $50,000 in local donations, and then we get the 50 from the donor, and that puts us 2/3 of the way to paying for this project. And the donor also wants to see a lot of participation. So we have to raise a lot of money, but he also wants us to have 250 people minimum involved. So, there's room for donors large and small. We want to see a lot of participation. We want people in Utica to feel like they own this project, and we'd like to make this happen by next year for that centennial. It could be up and running and more or less finished by June if we get the money together this fall. So let's all pull together. I mean, what we've been doing in the park just in the last 90 days shows what we can accomplish when we all work together and we all collaborate. So if we all can pull together as a community, make this happen, it will make a big difference for Utica, for the quality of life, for the people living here in Utica, and also maybe help us attract and retain people who will help us to build a new and more prosperous Utica. So come along and join this effort. No donation is too small, so please chip in. We're really excited about it, and I think as you find out more about it, you'll be excited as well.